Hey there, kitty. You want to help me put a winch on? Today's video is brought to you by my wallet. We're going to put a winch on BenJee. I'm going to bring you guys along. I've never put a winch on anything before. I think that BenJee needs to have a winch. What do you guys think? You know, because I'm always on a tight budget, I just jumped on to Amazon and started looking at, we'll call them inexpensive winches. I found something I think is pretty good. I like the form factor of it. It looks good, and I think it's going to function well. You know, really the only sideboards I had is it had to have all the capacity I would need, which is, you know, not much. It's Jeeps don't weigh much, so they're easy to tote around with a winch. But the one I found is 12,000 pounds, synthetic line. It's got a wireless remote. Seems to be a pretty good package. A lot of good reviews, so that's what we went with. Let's take a look in the box. Well, today's workbench brought to you by 2003 Duramax. Thanks, Duramax. We love you. The brand is the Rugcel, R-U-G-C-E-L, off-road. The Tank 12,000 is what they call it. Here, kitty, we need a bed. There you go. Look out, girl. There you go. My dad would call her a pest, but he loved her. High-strength alloy hook, designed for easy rigging. Severe duty gear train with all hardened steel gears. Check. Robust series Wone motor. Okay. Delivers reliable pulling power. Long life automatic cone brake design to confidently hold max rated load. Components. The all new winch, stronger, faster, easiest to use. Looks like some use instructions, how not to kill yourself type of stuff. Yep. Okay. Fair lead. Oh yeah. That's kind of a nice decal. Rugcel off-road. Look at that. Ooh, and in case you're going to mount it on your stomper 4x4, mini tiny hardware. Ooh, and yet another decal. What do you think? I only bought it for the decals. The remote control. Oh, here. This is the remote. Got a nice little weatherproof remote. It appears it's weatherproof. I don't know. It's rubber coated. It says Tank on it. And then there's a little battery it comes with. If you guys can see that. So. Oh. Real nice connections. Again, everything's color coded on the back here. A, B, C, and D. Which work good for dumb guys like myself. So I'm going to figure out how I can build a plate for this myself. A little welding, cutting, welding. I don't know. I've got a lot of iron around here. Warren makes a plate specifically for CJ5s. A CJ series, I think, and maybe they're all the same in the front. Says that it will fit my 73. My welding skills may not be up to par. It's been a long time since I've done any serious welding. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's go over and just set this on the front of the Jeep and see how it looks. This is what we call plain make-believe. There you go. Installed. So it looks like we just need to build us some bracketry that kind of spans out and probably attaches to the frame horns here. CJs kind of look like they're made for a winch at first, because they've got this, but that's actually pretty lightweight. That, gosh, it looks like 1/8 inch maybe. So I'm not expecting that to support a winch. Yeah, there's plenty of room there. Oh gosh, there's a big old bolt right here that needs to come out. It's cut off on one side. Same with the other side. That might have been for the plow. This had a plow on it at one time. Yeah, real simple plate across the top here. Raise it up just a little bit. Let me take a break, put some thought into mounting plates, go look at my iron pile, and make a plan. You never know. Maybe that plan will be 1-800 buy a mounting plate. Come on, girl. What are we doing? Let's go find some iron, huh? Come on. Well, here we are back at it on day 2, it's Sunday today. Me, Carmel, BenJee the Jeep, and we're back at the winch mount. I did some drafting last night and came up with a sketch for, I think, a pretty good winch mount for one of these. But I also did a little research, looked around online to see if anybody had any videos where they maybe made their own or mounted a pre-built or, you know, a aftermarket winch mount to the intermediate series, 72 to 75 CJs. And there's just not that much out there. Some guys that had put them on, some of the older ones, you know, the predated the Kaiser CJ5s, if you will. And they've got a little different front end on them just because of the length, I think, of the nose. Someone had kind of documented putting a Warren winch, one of those vintage Warren winches, on the front of their intermediate. I think it was a 74, with just a few pictures. They kind of skipped talking about where the steering box on these sits and how that can interfere with mounting a winch mount to your frame. So that's kind of in the way. I mean, I could tell you right now it's in the way. I can't reach back underneath that and feel between the steering box and the frame on the driver's side there. So a few things came up kind of after I had drafted up my winch mount that I thought, okay, well, I need to look at this a little bit more. And looking at it this morning, since I've gotten out here, kind of thinking that I should probably remove some of the junk that's still in there. As I had mentioned a little earlier in the video, this had a snowplow on it at one time, and there's some bolts through some of the factory holes right there that got cut off on one side, but the slag kind of held them in place. So I'm going to get the cutting wheel, the grinder, something here, and clean this up a little bit here in the front. Hey, Carmel. What are you doing? Huh? Hey. Here's some of the stuff I got to clean up. These are factory holes in the frame here. Good mounting spot there. Good one here, but you can see the slag. There was a big old bolt through there. I got this here. I got this, the slag's kind of holding the bolt in place, so I just need to grind that off and punch it out. Well, that turned into a bit of a fiasco, actually. So I spent about the last half hour taking off the bumper bolts. They were rusted in place. Couldn't get those off, so I grinded the heads off them, cut them off, and I guess that gives me much better access to the front. Maybe I should just build a bumper with a winch mount built right in. Maybe that'd be the thing to do. Well, let me assess this for a little bit. I do have to cut off those. See, somebody welded them on. You can see that globbed on there. Globbed on there, my goodness. I just went ahead and I got online and ordered the winch plate from Warren. Now that I've got the front of this open and cleaned up, why not? Yeah, it's going to simplify this install quite a bit. You know, once I get the mount in place, get the winch on, then it's just running wires and the thing's operational. So anyway, that plate will come in later this week. Until then, I'll just bid you a fond farewell. I'll see you in a minute. Well, a fine, beautiful spring-like day here for winter in my hometown. Box came in, says Warren on it. We're gonna pop this thing open together and take a look. Let me get my workbench ready to go here. 30 pounds of Warren steel. Some destructions here. And some mounting hardware, bolts and so forth. Yipper. Oh yeah, that's one of those things. Well, I can't tell you this. All the iron on this is a lot thicker than anything on my Jeep. Cool. And there you go, there's the mounting plate. All right, this all looks really nice, but before we can get to this, we've got a little bit of framework to do, get it cleaned up. We'll see how hard it is to get this mounted. It shouldn't be that difficult. Fingers crossed, right? There we go. Okay, now that we got the bumper on, it's time to put the mounting plates on that came with the winch mount. And so these are going to just drop right in here, each side of the frame. They're already drilled for 5/8 inch bolts, which it does come with. So then also in the package comes these carriage bolts. You need to put these carriage bolts in the plate where they need to be installed as you attach it, because once this is in place, those can't come out. They're down against the frame. So anyway, I'll just go ahead and bolt this on and show you how it goes. Pretty self-explanatory, really. You just need to line them up with those holes that are already in the frame there. I've already got these carriage bolts through the plate. Line this up with this hole. And then the same thing here. All right, that is installed. So here's where the problem lies on this side. This is the driver's side. This hole you can see right here, which is the farthest back mounting spot for the plate. I'll show you here. Goes on just like so. It is just on the other side of the steering box. Very tight clearance from here to the top of the frame, and the steering box is right there. I'll check in with you here in a sec. I think I figured it out on this driver's side mounting bracket. Like I say, the Warren folks don't say anything about the steering box being in the way, but they did give you a remedy for it. They don't say it, but they give you the fix, and that is in these collars, these spacers, sleeves. And here's what's happening. Really any CJ after 72 probably, I don't know. Intermediates forward, we'll say. The steering box is clear up here underneath this plate. The bolt hole, again, following the steering box is there. These are steering box bolts that come up into this. These are also tied in to the steering box here. So this is all to mount it up into the frame and to stabilize it. That bolt hole right there is where we need to go through. So you can kind of see that and all of the, well, you can't see down in there, but there's a lot of the steering box goes this way. So there's not much room between the steering box and the frame there. However, what I did, you can kind of see, my digits through there, I can go up underneath here and I can feel that hole. And what you do is you push these longer bolts through. Warren gave you these longer, gosh, these are, what, 3-inch probably? 3-inch bolts. You can push those all the way through the frame and you can feel it through this hole here. If I reach back in there, see, I can feel it, I'm wiggling it from the other side. And then you can slip that sleeve in, and that sleeve goes through a small opening or small hole in the steering box plate, and it goes up against the frame. So when you tighten everything down here, it's going to tighten up against that collar and tighten the bracket directly to the frame. Hopefully I'm describing that right, but anyway, that's the way you do it. It's just a little inconvenient because you have to reach up over the top of this. Okay, let me show you. I got an extension over the top of this to the back side of this bolt. So let me show you here. Here's the bolt again. Beep, there, going all the way through. And my ratchet here. So I just fished it up over the top. Got a 15/16 deep socket there, and then about a 6-inch extension on a 1/2-inch drive, and so I can reach all the way back in there and get it. So that part was not as big a deal as I thought it was going to be. So in just a second, I'm going to have this bugger mounted up. Okay, brackets are on. That really was very simple. The biggest booger I had was those screwed up front holes from some old welds. Got that cleaned up pretty good. Here's the other side of that. So installed nicely there. This one's the same. Yeah, these are looking good. These are going to go through the winch mounting plate. All right, moving on. Now it's time to put the winch on the mounting plate. And don't forget, boys and girls, if you're going to do this, you have to put the winch on the mounting plate before you install it on the Jeep. Pretty simple install. This Rugcel winch just has captured nuts that slide in here. They kind of just slide right in these slots here. Maybe this is standard on other winches. I don't know. I've never put other winches together. All right. Now for the fair lead. Oh no, they're too long. They're hitting the winch. So those are about 3/8 of an inch too long, maybe. Well, I tried snipping a little bit off that bolt for the fair lead, and I realized I didn't have a way to chamfer that cutoff end, so I couldn't get the nut back on there. I just ran down to Ace, and I got me an assortment of cap screws, a couple different sizes here, lengths that is, so I can see what's gonna meet my clearance issues. All right, well, we're back in business anyway. There we go. Okay, here we go. Time to mount it up. They give you these spacers. Oh, they're maybe 1/4-inch spacers or so that go on top of these carriage bolts. Okay, go here and there. All right. my $69 bargain on Amazon. This thing's working great so far. That sucker is mounted. Yes, I love it. Okay, one more time, I'm going to show you something here. This is the really small tolerance that you have between the back of the mounting plate and the actual winch. You can see that the bolt and the nut almost touch the body of the winch. There you go. Otherwise, you know, the whole thing went together pretty well. Anyway, I'm gonna finish wiring this tomorrow, bring you guys in for that. That should not take long. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Next morning, and it's an absolute gorgeous one again. Back on the winch here. We're gonna get her energized this morning, get it wired up and functional. So we'll get started on all that right meow. Here we go. All right, the solenoid / control unit. Top of the casing's already threaded. I just need to drop these guys in there. Be a little gentle on it with this guy. Looks good. Okay, so we've got this terminal down here. And these are all 13mm nuts, by the way. Okay, well, now I guess I can go ahead and wire it up to the battery and just test it. All right, just got my temporary connections on. Don't freak out, internet. I'll clean these up, don't worry about it. Plus, I still want to wire this bugger in. This is the disconnect for the winch. And it's probably gonna go like right there. Yeah, so I've got a lot of cleanup to do here. I think I'm just gonna go to a different battery with different post style up top so I can get multiple connections up there, cleaning the whole thing up. And like I say, bigger capacity. But for now, this should be enough to just operate the winch and make sure it's functioning like it should. Okay, well, found the remote. And it looks like it's already got power. It did come with another battery, which I had set here earlier, but it's obviously already got one in it. And it's flashing red. I don't know if that means it's low battery. Here we go, going out. Cool. Three buttons on this remote. Out, in, and off. That's a power button. It just, basically I think it just disconnects the remote from the winch. Works well though, I like it. Okay. I don't know if I'm a fan of these great big hooks they put on these things. Most guys I watch on line, I guess main one being Matt's Off-Road, they just use a soft shackle coming right off a loop on the end of the line. So, but for now I'll put this on. I have a winch. Look at that. This actually is a pretty nice looking winch. Now, how it works, that's, I guess, for another day. But the badging is cool. The form factor is very cool. Again, the instructions were a little bit, to be desired. They weren't the best, but you know, even with lacking instructions, if you approach this very practically, it's not that difficult. But this Warren prefab unit is the bee's knees as far as I'm concerned. Very easy to put together. Great mount, very clean, and it's got a universal fit. Obviously made by Warren, but this Rugcel goes on there. I guess other than that, the thing is with the winch is you don't really want to have to put yourself in a position where you're going to use it, but if you're really out using a Jeep for what it's intended to, you know, you might be glad you had one, at least maybe for pulling your buddies out, especially if they're in, like, say, a Land Cruiser. So I guess that's it for me. Until I see you next time, just remember, life is very short. I've had a few reasons in the last 2 years to realize that. The people that you love could be here today, gone tomorrow. So grab your mom, grab your dad, grab your kids, grab your wife, your best friend, and just get out and go do something. Have fun. We'll see you next time.